Hi guys, I want to talk about negotiation today. I have a longer video on my channel that gets into all the specifics on negotiation and it's about 45 minutes. So today I'm going to give you just a few quick tips and get into the overall important essentials on negotiation. If you're interested in a deeper dive, you can watch that longer video, but I know that's a lot for most people to look at. So here's a little presentation that I made to cover some of these essentials. There's a few different ways or schools of thought that people approach negotiation. Some people will tell you that it's like a competition and you want to kind of overpower the other person or wait them out. And the way I approach it, it's more like a conversation. I think this comes from my background in interpersonal communication, but really I like to think of it as you're sitting at a table, or these days more over Zoom or on the phone, and you're talking with somebody and you want to find out what their needs are. I like to focus on asking questions as much as possible, more than informing somebody. I think when you get to situations like these, there's a lot of pressure to prove yourself and show what you know and how worthwhile you are, in both in job interviews and when you're trying to pitch something. And really, the more you can let the other person talk and tell you what they need, the more you're going to learn about how you can help them, and also the better they're going to feel about your ability to help them. Most people in their lives don't feel like they're listened to enough. So if you can help them by listening to them, that's going to make them feel really good about their relationship with you. And also, you really want to listen to them well because you want to know details of how you can help them. So I like to ask questions like, what what are you looking for from this project or from this role? Why are you starting this project now? If it's a job, you might ask, why are you hiring for this role right now? Do research about the company before you go in there. Know something about their competitors. Know something about other people in the market. So the more you can know about it before you get into the conversation, the better off you're going to be. Some of the logistics of talking money are important, and a lot of times these are shrouded in mystery and people don't always talk these through. So I like to lay out as much as possible of this for people. Know how much you want to ask for before you go into the meeting, and this is where research helps. If you know other people in your field and you can ask them, that's great. There are websites that can help if you're talking about salary. So Glassdoor sometimes will post salaries on ranges in different industries. If you're a recent graduate, sometimes your career center can help you with a decent range for salaries. If you freelance, a lot of times other freelancers will help by letting you know what they charge or at least a range. I'm happy to talk to people about my range offline. I don't like sharing it online because it doesn't help me negotiate with clients to post rates. But I definitely think more transparency in this area helps everybody. So if you're a freelancer, you want to have a fee structure and know about what you charge for website copy, for newsletters, for whatever you do. And if you're negotiating salary, you want to know your range. I like to be the first person in the room to say a number. There are other schools of negotiation that say you should wait on saying the number, but I think it's helpful to be the first. That way you get to set the bar or the range of where the money's coming in. So say you want your salary to be 75,000 a year and they open up the discussion at 50, then you've got a long ways up to negotiate. But if you set the number and the range first, then they at least know what area you're coming in at. And as a general rule of thumb, you want to ask for about 20% more than you actually want. That gives you some room to be negotiated down and still be in a comfortable range. When you close the negotiation, it's good to summarize. So you restate your agreement. If you were pitching for a job or a project that you'd be doing with a client, you might say something like, In my terms, a project like this usually takes about 2 months, and I would charge around $12,000 for this work. How does that sound to you? So I always ask a question at the end and put it back on the client to give them a chance to add in or remind me if I've forgotten something. Maybe they'll add in, oh, remember we were going to do those white papers also, and that gives you a chance to pull that back into the project. And by asking a question, you're letting them know that you want them to be comfortable with the project. So these are all good little details to do. So I just like to give you some language that you can use, and put it in terms that work for your voice. So don't copy my exact wording unless that sounds great in your mouth. I will actually practice some of this language, and if I'm making a big financial ask, something that sounds like a lot of money to me, I will actually practice saying that amount a lot the couple of days before I make the ask, so that I don't sound too harsh or too weak when I say that number. It might be overkill, but it helps me. And I like to remind people that this is more doable than you might think if you haven't practiced negotiation. I'm the last person in the world who I would have thought could be good at negotiating, but I do it now quite a bit because I freelance. So things that have helped me get good at this are remembering past successes, things that I've done. So maybe you haven't negotiated before, but maybe you've done really well on a school project. Pull that energy into this. Maybe you landed a job you didn't think you were going to land. So remember that you have accomplished things that you didn't think you could. Oh, I have a typo here. Oh no. So sing in the car 1 week before you present. What this does is it helps activate your diaphragm, and the singing also taps into your vagus nerve and pulls you out of the sympathetic nervous system and into the parasympathetic nervous system, and it will relax you. So I'll do this. I'm not normally a sing in the car kind of person, but the week before I have a big negotiation, I will sing out loud in the car. And so it helps me strengthen my diaphragm so I am projecting well when I get into this big meeting. And that helps me relax and calm down when I do feel nervous. I might pick out a power outfit, something that makes me feel strong and think I am capable, but also I feel like I'm wearing and isn't wearing me. So something that I'm comfortable in and that I have worn quite a bit. So I might pick that out several days in advance, make sure it's dry cleaned or cleaned, whatever needs to be done with it, and have it all set to go. Put it on, make sure it still fits well. Maybe if it's a suit, maybe I haven't worn it in several months, to make sure everything's still fitting and looks good, and that I have a shirt to go underneath the blazer. I might do breathing exercises to help prepare. One of my favorite is bee's breath that we do in yoga, and that's essentially humming. So you hum on the exhale, like, and that you can find YouTube videos that are good tutorials on that. It does a real similar thing to the singing in the car. It taps you into your parasympathetic nervous system. And then I like to remember that everyone gets nervous. The people who are negotiating with you are nervous about talking about money also. So if you can be aware enough and step outside of your emotional discomfort when you're in the meeting, you will notice signs of the client or the hiring manager being nervous when the money discussion comes up too. That helps me, might help you also. And remember that when you're successful and you're able to get the money that you want, the money that you deserve for the work that you do, it feels great. It's a nice feeling to be successful at this. So that's another reason why I like to do this. And really, the reason that I've worked so hard to be good at negotiation, and the reason I like to teach this, is because so many people, creatives, women, minorities, young people, there's so many underrepresented classes of people who are not paid fully what they deserve. And there's a million reasons why this happens. There's all kinds of systemic reasons, but the one thing that all of us who are in these underrepresented groups can do is ask for it. So the part that we can control is make sure that we are asking for what we deserve and what we should be paid. All of the systemic issues, all of the patriarchy, the systemic racism, maybe we can fight that in other ways, but the part that we can definitely actively control is making sure we're asking for the money that we deserve. So I like to make sure that I teach people how to ask for this money. So I hope this is helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And if you want to talk about freelance writing, pay ranges and pay scales offline, I'm happy to chat about that. So thank you guys, and I hope this was helpful.